death penalty. I believe an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, which is believed to be said by Mahatma Gandhi. I believe the justice system should hold this quote near and dear to its heart. I believe I was for the death penalty until I understood how drugs worked from nursing school and how inhumane business practices, as well as have taken basic criminal investigation classes at EKU. I believe lethal injection is inhumane. I believe the death penalty has been used against innocent people, and I believe it doesn't bring closure to the families. First, let's begin with how it works. It's a three-drug regimen, and the first is a sedation drug, which has been known to cause pulmonary edema in 79% of lethal injection executions, according to Zybit 2022. And this is like a drowning sensation in the lungs, and you feel like you're being basically internally waterboarded. So it's pretty like violent sounding. And your lungs are twice the normal size from normal, and like that gives the impression that they're fighting for air. And then in October 2018, Judge Hobbs says the paralytic gives a false sense of serenity to viewers, according to Brazier 2024. The paralyzing drug, it actually paralyzes you, so this violates your First Amendment right for free speech because you can't verbalize that you're in pain. And then the last drug is a potassium overdose, and that stops the heart, causing a heart attack. So. And also in the clinical setting, if someone has an overdose of potassium, it's been accidental overdoses, they feels like fire in your veins. So you're basically being set on fire after you're waterboarded, basically. And it's intentionally malicious, and the 8th Amendment, it violates it because it's a right to not an inhumane or cruel punishment. And some examples of the botched injections. An Arkansas man was executed and he was convulsing for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that sounds pretty brutal. And an Ohio man, he was injected 18 times and they actually hit his bone, and then that didn't even kill him. He had to go back to his cell. So, and then he died of coronavirus in prison. And then the last man, an Alabama man, was executed for 3.5 hours before he died of a heart attack. So that seems like a pretty long time. And innocent individuals. This guy was Marcellus Williams, and he was supposedly innocent. Y'all might have seen him on social media. He had 1 million petitioners signed for him. And he died anyway because he was executed 2 months ago in September. And the victim's families actually did not even want him to die. But since he was on death row for the state, he had to be executed. Can we really live with ourselves if even one innocent person is killed? And another major issue is wrongful conviction has made capital punishment less tolerable to the general public, according to Kaplan, 2024. And does anyone want to guess how much money we've given to exonerated or people that have been convicted of crimes that they did not commit? It's $4 billion. And why does this happen? Why do we wrongly accuse people that are innocent? It's because eyewitness testimony is unreliable. If you have a lineup of people and you're a victim, you're more likely to pick somebody from that lineup. And memory is faulty, so it's not always the most reliable thing. And I learned this in the criminal investigations class at EKU. And faulty DNA evidence is another factor. And to err is human, and people are not perfect, so the system can't be either, which is why we cannot throw away lives because of an imperfect system. And as MLK said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And exonerations. This man actually served 48 years for something he didn't even do because of faulty eyewitness testimony, and that was the longest conviction for an innocent person in America. And that woman also had an inadequate defense, and she was in jail for a year. And the closure myth, some victim families don't feel closure because it's a long, lengthy legal process, and it takes multiple years, and most of those people have already found the peace internally already in those years, and if when that person is killed, they're re-traumatized by all this happening, and so they don't feel the closure that they think they would. And alternatives for closure, the death penalty is actually more expensive than life imprisonment. So because of the lengthy process and the drugs used, they're life-saving drugs, so these companies that make the drugs don't want these drugs being used for the death penalty, so they have to pay a lot more money for them. And the monies could be better used for victims' families to help them. In conclusion, before we can begin to look at the death penalty, we must fix the justice system, which is why it should be abolished. It violates the 8th Amendment, possibly used against the innocent, and it's not a compelling case for victim family, and the death penalty must be stopped. And this is a QR code for Andy Barr's email, so we can get him to agree, so we can send him an email, tell him why we think it's wrong. And yeah, so they have abolished it for people with mental illnesses in Kentucky, but not for everyone, so.